This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, the purpose of this meeting is to give a brief overview of Fishbowl, the features of the software, as well as some of the industries and markets that this software is a good fit for. In general, Fishbowl is a manufacturing and wholesale distribution software. Given that the primary purpose is to track inventory and inventory movements, this software can also be a great fit for companies that do asset management, any sort of third-party logistics, service companies that do job costing, retail companies, as well as those that are doing e-commerce. I might recommend for those that are looking to find an application of Fishbowl in their industry to go to the fishbowlinventory.com website under the industries section. There they'll be able to see a wide variety of industries that Fishbowl's been able to work with, everything from those in agriculture, chemical manufacturing, wholesale distribution. We'll be able to see everything from electronics, food, beverage, firearms, gas and oil. You'll be able to see in each one of these certain case studies of perhaps where we've done various work for military or been able to work with a specific job shop or metal fabricator. Anyway, each one of these will highlight the case studies and give an example of how Fishbowl has been able to help in that specific industry. The software itself is desktop-based. We have the ability to host Fishbowl on the cloud. It is designed to run the operations of a business. That's why it can either stand alone or it is commonly integrated to an accounting system. Fishbowl out of the box will integrate to the QuickBooks desktop suite, to the online version of QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online, as well as to Xero. In these scenarios, if I were to try to put this into a flow chart, Fishbowl is again using accounting really just as the back-end general ledger. The purpose of Fishbowl is to take over most all of the day-to-day operations, so managing of suppliers, doing purchase orders, the receiving process would be in Fishbowl. And then the software would simply be posting to QuickBooks any sort of bill or item receipt as needed. Similarly, the tracking of customers and pricing and any sort of management of pricing rules for a customer, that would all be in Fishbowl. The Fishbowl is acting as a point of sale, so it would be doing the sales orders, all of the logistics of picking, packing, shipping, and then would be posting any sort of payments, invoices, receipts over to the accounting software if Fishbowl's integrated to one. As far as managing the inventory, sometimes that is all a client will need, is to manage their parts and the ins and outs of inventory. For our manufacturing companies, they need to be able to track a batch, a recipe, a formula. Oftentimes it is just a bill of material for assembly. We have a production module, and then we'll be able to track inventory that way. So I thought it helps give a bit of a flow of the software. All of these modules, if I were to put them up on the left-hand side, would be here on the left, where I'll be able to see an inventory list and all of the various types of materials. There's a group for sales and the picking, packing, shipping. There's a group for the purchasing and receiving and manufacturing. As we go through various transactions, again, the purpose of Fishbowl is to be able to, if it's as a standalone, provide reports. If this software is designed to integrate to your general ledger, it's going to post over everything from bills to customers, invoices, payments, whatever the general ledger would need at that time. As far as inventory features for parts, we try to have the ability to load as much information or as little information as needed, right? I can see pictures of items, part numbers, descriptions. I have the ability to see suppliers and who I order parts from, any sort of lead time to bring them in. I have the ability to, this is really where the name Fishbowl comes from, the ability to see how many I own of something versus what's actually available to use or what's available for sale. The software is all about giving me transparency. Where have things been allocated? Have I sold them? Am I about to use them to make something? Tell me what's actually on order. Fishbowl could actually tell me what's incoming and saying, well, you're expecting 4 of these, and Maybe one's being transferred, perhaps some are coming in by purchase order. I can be able to look down and see exactly when I'm supposed to expect things to come in. When evaluating inventory, there's kind of two sections. The first is, how much inventory should I have? Is this a business that we should run just in time, or is this an area where I should have the software prompt me when I'm getting low? And so Fishbowl has the ability to forecast and be able to take from historicals any sort of usage, whether I've sold something or used it in an assembly, and be able to calculate lead times and be able to set up really an economic order quantity, meaning set up a reorder point for each of my locations or a par level or some sort of an alert that tells me when I should be ordering more. That is something that you can have Fishbowl report on, or even in a purchase order environment, be able to come in and just simply push a button and say, okay, tell me what it is that I need to buy now that I'm on back order for, by vendor, or tell me, including all of my min-max levels, what it is that I should have. And then Fishbowl can actually generate those purchase orders and email them from the system. All the documents would be coming out of Fishbowl at that point. The other element of inventory is knowing where things are, being able to warehouse them. Fishbowl has the ability to set up unlimited locations. Location groups in our software would be like a warehouse. You don't even have to own the warehouse. You may be a business that incorporates a 3PL and you just want to know the movements in and out. Perhaps I have my own 3 warehouses like LA, Miami, or Salt Lake City. Perhaps I use a Fulfilled by Amazon location. Perhaps I want to set up a customer as a consignment location. So I can set up as many sites as I want. The location module in Fishbowl is designed to set up more bin locations within a warehouse. I can have those be simple, just a couple of stock locations and tell me exactly what I have sitting there. Or I could be as in-depth as tell me aisle, section, shelf position on the shelf and be as detailed as I'd like. All of the reports in Fishbowl will be able to reflect this level of inventory control. I can look in a location and see what I have, or I could go to one part, come down to the inventory module and be able to see I own 138 of those, and here are the locations that those items are sitting. One element our software has is the ability to custom track, to be able to do traceability. This is crucial for a number of different industries, but if I were to just perhaps highlight maybe the food and beverage, any company that needs to be able to go through any sort of recall, they need to be able to track by lot number, sometimes by expiration date, sometimes by both. So really, regardless of what the type of product is, if I need to track by that, I could go into inventory and it'll tell me not only how many I have by location, but it'll highlight for me expiration dates and lot numbers. If we are dealing with a company that has to track by serial numbers, so perhaps we are in the firearm industry and need to be able to know what serial numbers we have of lower receivers. Fishbowl can track that, be able to come in and specify the exact serial number of the item. That could be for machinery, it could be for trailers, it could be for computers and electronics, an IMEI number for a cell phone. I can set up whatever tracking I need to. Fishbowl then incorporates a number of different types of reports that we would need to be able to know if there was a recall on a certain product. So in my report suite, I might be able to come in to a lot history type report and have Fishbowl tell me the entire history of a lot, when it was purchased, if it was used to make product A, B, and C, and then I could even be able to go down further to see any clients that had ordered A, B, or C. And I can do it in reverse as well. If a customer calls with a finished good, I need to be able to go back and see everything that went into it. If there's an element of the business that needs to be able to report on things that are going to expire, I can have automatic reports sent to be able to highlight for me if things are getting low. Keep in mind that, again, our software has the ability to do custom tracking. So if you need to track by multiple lot numbers or multiple elements or be able to track by dates, Fishbowl can do that. If your company is a manufacturing company, again, remember that there's different types of ways of manufacturing. I may do more process manufacturing where I will set up a bill of material that's in a certain batch size. It's a cost center. I want to know all of the costs that go in, and then Fishbowl will track what it is that we were able to yield. The software has the ability, when I actually get into production, to print various types of documents if needed, a batch sheet, a build sheet. We call it a traveler. It can have pictures. It can be customized as you need. So if one wanted to have more of a paper trail, they could do that. Another element of the software, though, is that as soon as I have part numbers, as soon as I have inventory items, and I start to do some of these types of transactions, Fishbowl does have the ability to print labels and barcodes. So I may want to label my bins. I may want to barcode my bins. I may want to use an app that we call Fishbowl Go. Fishbowl Go can work on a scanner. It could also work on an iPhone or Android as an app, and allows me to do various processes like work orders, like picking, packing, shipping, receiving, moving of inventory, even sales that I could do from my phone or from a scanning device. Again, if I am manufacturing and my process is a little bit more assembly based, maybe even sub-assemblies, my bill of materials may look a little more like this. So I'll come in and I'll find one here that maybe has multiple what we call stages. Just means that there may be multiple levels, and you can have unlimited levels in Fishbowl as far as going down and being able to have bills of materials that are nested. Well, when I get into production, that may mean that I have one manufacturer order that has multiple work orders and gives me more of that tiered look. Each one of the steps in a certain route may have their own instructions, may need their own time captured. Fishbowl has an app called Fishbowl Time that allows you to be able to clock in and out on work orders if you want more direct labor. You may want to simplify and just have a standard labor rate in there. But each work order may be able to be reflected on a calendar. Calendars in Fishbowl are customizable. You can actually have a calendar per a workstation, for a machine, for a certain work order, for a certain worker or employee, if they need to be able to go in and see what they're supposed to work on at a specific time. Most all of the reports in Fishbowl can be reported that way as well. So if I needed to be able to come in and see what's scheduled for a day and which work center it hits, or all of my open work orders and what resource I should use, that's a report that is there. Back to those that are doing more of your wholesale distribution, just those that are trying to sell items, bring them in and out. Purpose of Fishbowl is to make that as easy as possible. We have a sales order module. It does quotes. It has the ability to easily see customer history, be able to look up products and easily know if I have them, be able to do pricing rules and pricing levels based on who the customer is. Fishbowl has, when orders are issued, you can take payment. We can move to a picking module. Picking is designed to show us things that are on back order immediately, provide a paper trail, or the ability to use a scanner for accuracy when I'm picking things in a warehouse. Our shipping module, while it can connect to a number of different third-party shipping softwares, Fishbowl inherently has its own integration with UPS and FedEx and USPS and DHL and even Canada Post for some of the smaller type shipments. Fishbowl also can print things like a bill of lading. So if your company ships and needs a pallet packing list, and then needs to be able to print a bill of lading for some of the larger carriers, we can do that. Whenever I complete a transaction in Fishbowl, that's where Fishbowl is going to then either give you the reports that you need, or will post to your accounting system the invoice and relevant information that is there. Another element of the software is its flexibility when working with other solutions. So if I'm an e-commerce company, I may need Fishbowl to work with my Magento or BigCommerce or WooCommerce site or Shopify. There's a number of other plugins that we have with the software. We've been able to integrate to a number of different CRM systems. We have the ability to plug into a number of B2B platforms and portals. So if I am a 3PL warehouse and I needed my customers to be able to log in and see what information they have or see what specific billing reports we have, that is an element of the software as well. I think most importantly is that Fishbowl is a team and we have great implementation. Every customer that calls and gets a demonstration has an implementation specialist and the ability to go and see exactly how Fishbowl will plan and help them to implement the software and make it successful for their team. I invite you to look more into Fishbowl and call your sales rep and find out how Fishbowl can help you. Appreciate the time. Thanks for watching.